Well, I suppose it is a good idea in the sense that then they can see schools, which are people coming obviously from different places, leaving, doing different things. It is a large community where you're people. So therefore, having testing and being aware of where people are in the sense of COVID.
I mean, in the corridors at King William's College, are the students bothered about the risk of contracting COVID?
I mean,
Is it a subject of conversation every day?
well, in terms of, so for example, corridors less so. However, for example, chapel, we have different arrangements for chapel. So for example, the fifth form, which is year 9 to 11, they have a different slot in chapel because they're a larger cohort than the fourth form and the sixth form, where they're in together. So we're on Thursdays and Fridays, whereas fifth form, I'm pretty sure, are on Mondays and Friday afternoons.
Okay,
So,
Ben, you've been vaccinated, haven't you?
I've had my first vaccination.
You're the
yes.
only person here to be vaccinated, and the
Yes.
reason for that was?
I'd done some voluntary work with Southern Befrienders, which actually my correspondence was done online, but because of the priority group that I was put in, I was asked to take the vaccination.
And you'll be getting a second, presumably, soon
Yes,
as well.
28th of June. 28th of June. Yes.
Wow. Well, you hoping to go on holiday this summer at all?
I'm not hoping to go on holiday. There is a summer school that I'd like to attend. That would be dependent on. And besides that, no, I'm not going to do any travelling. No.
Okay. Lauren, holiday, Lauren, at all?
I think just across the UK.
Yeah?
Play it safe. I mean, you can't. It's all last minute, isn't it? So, yeah.
Okay, Elias, are you going back to Germany at all?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back next Monday, actually.
And how long for?
For till next September, almost the entire time. Yeah.
You had COVID, didn't you?
Yeah, I had COVID back in January when I came over to the island.
How were the symptoms? How did you feel?
My symptoms weren't too bad. I just had like a bit of a cold. My nose was running a bit, but that's it basically.
And what's the situation in Germany at the moment? Are people bothered about COVID that much?
I think the numbers are going quite low now. So we got only like I think 11 cases per 100,000 anymore.
Are they locked down at all?
They're opening up a lot now. So you're allowed to gather now with 50 people inside and 100 people outside. And I think pubs are reopening and restaurants. So it's quite open, but they have like a system that, depending on how many cases you have per 100,000, the rules change. So if you have like below 20, I think you're allowed to gather with 100 people. If it's over 25, you're only allowed to meet with 10 people. And if it's over 100, you're completely locked down, basically.
Do you think Donald Trump will stand again for president of the United States?
I think it will depend on how Biden does the next few years and then how the entire political atmosphere is going to be.
What's your view of Joe Biden?
I think he was the better candidate, and I think he can, and he's trying at the moment to get the nations back together and more to encourage better working together.
Well, obviously he and Putin have met, and I mean the threat of Russia, what Russia does, affects everybody. Do you think the world's safer with Biden and Putin, or remember when Trump was with Putin?
I think it's safer with Biden because he's he's more calculative and like he's not as emotional and he's not gonna react out of a quick decision. And also in terms of like representation of America, he's much more focused on the overall good of everybody rather than only America.
What's the first thing you'll do in Munich when you get back home?
So actually I have to isolate for 2 weeks, first of all. So probably gonna have a nice Weisswurst breakfast, like sausages and white beer.
Very good. You don't get that here, do you? Alex, just bring us up to speed then on the swimming. When do you think competitive swimming is going to get back to anything like normal?
Well, fingers crossed, by around July, we should have a trip over to Manchester sorted. Obviously, it won't be a big group, and it'll be purely around the pool. I assume everyone will be tested, but we're not sure because it's all subject to change. But hopefully that'll bring on a new age of just coming back to competitions, because until now they've all been virtual. They called it Level X, where you'd compete at your local pool, and they'd send all the times over, and you could compete with the entirety of England.
What's your what stroke do you do? How do you compete?
Oh, I do breaststroke, so I do typically sprints, not long races, 50 or 100 meters.
What do you think of the plans for this Olympic-sized pool just by here at King William's?
I like the sound of it. It certainly would be a very useful facility.
Can you
to have.
explain to the sort of layperson why it's important to have a pool of that length for competitive swimming?
Well, the difference between a 25 and a 50-meter swimming pool is that they operate in very different conditions. With a 50-meter pool, it's pure power, and it's unlike a 25-meter pool. You'll turn, you'll spin, and it's a lot of technique work. The reason they use 50-meter pools in Olympic competitions because it allows for the full potential of the athlete. So until now, when the Isle of Man wants to compete, they need to go to England to go to a 50-meter pool to really hammer out those times. Because if you race in a 25, you've got a handicap, and you're on the back foot to the rest of England. And that's been the problem up until now, really.
So do you think a 50-meter pool for athletes on the Isle of Man to practice and to use will be beneficial for the nation in terms of athletes? I mean, in the past, we brought on a lot of very good cyclists because the Isle of Man's got a big tradition of cycling, and obviously Kenyuk and Cavendish and people like that have come through. I mean, do you think an Olympic-sized pool would help, I mean, 15, 20 years, but swimmers to come through?
Yeah, and I think it really helps bring forward the image of swimming because, obviously with lockdown, it's really faded back. But I think getting a big 50-meter pool, getting something for people to be excited about might start people getting into swimming and encouraging them. And as well, the location as well, because down south, it'll be in an open field, you'll see the sea. And it's quite an attractive idea, even to a more casual athlete. Trying in this big pool, swimming up and down will be a different experience.
Just explain that then to somebody who's never swum in a 50-meter pool. What's the difference?
Well, when you get it, well, on the outside it doesn't look that different, but when you get in, it's like it stretches out for miles. You can just keep swimming and it'll be half a minute or more until you get to the other end. But it's almost like swimming in the sea, where there's just that consistent expanse of water, but without all the waves and salt, obviously.
Fantastic. Christina, now it was Bath and it was criminal psychology as well. What was the name of the book again?
Snakes in Suits.
Psychopathic Businessman, was that it, did you say?
Yeah, it's the personality traits. They have a lot in common, or they can be mistaken with the traits of psychopaths.
Well, that's something else about that. What's your favourite film?
Oh no. I'm not sure. I love so many different films. I don't think I could say.
Do you have a
really.
TV crime show that you like?
Not really, actually. You'd think I would, but I don't. I watch sitcoms. That's all I watch.
What's your
really.
favourite sitcom?
Well, actually, just because the Friends reunion has been so soon, I've been rewatching all of Friends recently. So I'd say Friends is the
What
top
did you
of
think
it.
of that Friends reunion?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I really did.
Did you watch Friends when it first came round, or you're probably too young, weren't
Well,
you?
no, so Friends finished in 2004, I'm pretty sure, which is when I was born. So I grew up with it, kind of the reruns being on TV, and my parents would just switch it on.
Why is it so successful, do you think?
I think it's because at least for a lot of adults during that time, it is really the time where your friends are your family. They're the ones that are helping you through your life so much. And I think it was just really relatable. And I think it was also quite funny, and people just like that light-hearted nature of it.
Rory, just tell me, what's being, crikey, I've forgotten this, head of school? Head of school?
Yeah, that's the
Just
the
tell me,
title.
what does it mean to you personally?
What does it mean to me personally? It's exciting. It's
I mean, everyone here is a prefect, aren't they, with us today?
our neighbour's deputy head.
Yes.
So
Everyone is the other side of the line, if you like, from pupils. Do you consciously keep that side of the line? Obviously, you're a representative of authority almost within the school.
in many senses, yeah, but that doesn't take away the fact that that doesn't sorry, let me just rephrase that. That doesn't mean that I changed my behaviour in a way that I should. Obviously I respect my title, but they clearly thought that I I was good with the behaviour and the attitudes that I had. So I might have, beforehand, before I was given this title. So therefore, I feel like I'd do myself justice if I just kept the same attitude and behaviour as I was.
Well, they
in
knew
this
you were going to
title.
bring something to the party. Are you happy doing the job?
Oh, I'm over the moon, thank you. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. I mean, there's many things that we can do. So, for instance, we have certain roles and responsibilities which are set in stone, but we also have direct link to the senior management. So, if there's an issue that myself or Ava or any member of the pre-team feels that should be amended within the school,
Within the
yeah, we can. So, for example, in 2018, looking back, that was the year that the head of school and her pre-team installed a tampon machine in the girls' toilets. As well, they changed college amendments for on earrings, the college earring policy as well. So,
what was the change?
personally, I don't know.
Are earrings permitted at King William's?
Yes, they are. But before it was pretty sure it was just a single studded earring. But now they're and no nail polish. But now it's a bit more liberal.
Lauren, what's the policy on nail polish?
You can wear it. I'm not sure what colour, but yeah, I think it's neutral.
Yeah, in the fifth and sixth form, it's meant to be quite neutral.
Yeah.
And another change was the dress policy. We don't have girls and boys uniform anymore. So similar to our titles, actually, we have just uniform. So you can choose what to wear, whether it be a full suit like Rory's wearing or a skirt, blazer like I'm wearing. It's completely up to you.
So I could wear a dress if I chose to, or Ava could wear a suit if she chose to.
And do you often wear a dress?
Not often. No.
Not of yet.
Not as yet. Shall we just put it that way?
Well, I never thought I'd be talking about that today. Here we are live at King William's College. Tim Johnson is our candidate for Keys later on. By the way, this time next week, we're going to be back in Castletown for Castle Russian High School. We'll be live there. Back to Oana, off to, when will you get back to Romania?
I will go back not next Monday, the Monday after that. So I'm still gonna.
How do you feel about it?
I'm quite sad because I'm gonna leave behind for 2 months all these amazing people, and I'm gonna miss them, obviously. But I'm really happy to go back home to my parents, to my family, to my friends. I'm gonna turn 18 during the summer, so I'm expecting to have a big party, or like at least a party.
Whereabouts in Romania?
Well, I live in a city close to the capital. It's called Pitești. That's the city. It's not a big city, it's a small one, but I love it because of the green places, and to be fair, I love it because of my friends, after all. That's where I grew up, and it's this emotional attachment to it. That's why I love it, I think.
Do you have any views about the Euro football?
Euro football. I'm not very much into football, to be fair.
Are you a sporty person?
I used to be. I used to play tennis and karate, but after, in a championship in karate, I had an injury, so I can no longer play at the professional level. I like playing tennis from time to time. I haven't played tennis here because I haven't had my racket in any time whatsoever, but when I'm back home, I do play a lot with my brother, yes, and sometimes with my friends.
Ben, are you sporty at all?
Yes, I very much enjoy many sports, but mainly rugby, yes.
And what's the rugby team like at King William's?
It's very strong. We have a very strong competition.
Not been
the
on tour
island.
for a while.
No, although saying that, we were afforded the chance to go across to Guernsey, which we took, and that was fantastic. We played 2 fixtures, winning both. And well, actually, as captain this year, I'm very much looking forward to what is a very strong intake and a very supportive and community-like team. And we're hoping to go across this year. We have some fixtures with St David's in Wales, and obviously the big one here in Castletown and with other schools on the island, and travelling across. But we've set some goals and we're quite ambitious. So sky's the limit.
So what are you hoping to do at university?
I'm hoping to read classics.
Greek, Latin?
Greek, Latin. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I didn't study at GCSE. I wasn't able to, but I've seen some courses 4 years.
And what will that lead to?
What will that lead to? That's a very good question. Well, unless I decide to build a time machine and go back in time, I'll probably, well, I haven't decided. It could lead to journalism. It could lead to politics. I haven't decided.
Will you be, are you resident on the Isle of Man?
I am, yes.
Will you be voting in September?
In September, I will be, yes.
Have you registered to vote?
Not yet, no.
Okay. What do you know about politics on the Isle of Man?
What do I know about politics on the Isle of Man? Well, I know due to COVID, recent events, I know the Commissioner's place has gone down from 18 to 12. I know that most Manx politicians run as independents, except for in the north, which I know there's a lady running from the Manx Labour Party. This is all due to research done quite recently.
Good for you.
Thank you. But apart from that, I know...
you see, there's no, as you mentioned, the Manx Labour Party is around and Liberal Fannin, but we don't have political parties per se, so there's not that kind of combative nature of politics.
No.
Everyone's independent as well.
Yes.
I mean, does politics play any part in your life?
It does. I was born in South Africa, and politics is... it's rooted very deeply there, I think, with the changes in segregation and Nelson Mandela, obviously, in the ANC, and just seeing the power of voting is incredibly important. We've had discussions in tutor, and my tutor made the very astute observation that there are people that fought for our votes. They spilled blood and their lives, and I think for us not to vote is to do a great dishonour to them.
Do you stay up to date with things that are happening in South Africa?
I stay up to date via my family, well, my extended family, so my grandparents and my aunts and uncles. And yeah, I think due to COVID, it's been a case of what's it like now? What's the zone? Are you allowed to go outside? What are they saying? And I think there are all sorts of different things going on. I think they're putting through new policy in terms of corporations. I know even with corporation tax and Joe Biden imposing that on the world, which is a very interesting topic, and that's been quite hot news in South Africa.
Well, he's talked about tax being almost a moral issue in that people should pay tax, and that tax avoidance, the big multinationals, Google, Amazon, and Apple, and people like that, cutting special tax deals.
Yeah.
They're almost saying it's immoral. What do you think about that?
I think it is immoral to avoid tax in a way that is, well, to say immoral, but I think there are certain ways that you're disallowing other people that sort of financial support, which I think is immoral. It is immoral to allow yourself to have so much and yet so little for other people. And I think to bend the rules in such a way that just benefits you in such a slight way to increase your wealth by such a small exponent, I think is wrong. It is wrong to afford yourself such wealth but others poverty. And I think in terms of the global corporation tax specifically, I'm less aware of that. I know that it's happening. As to what specifically is going on, I'm less aware. But I think I'm for it from what I've read so far. And in terms of the Isle of Man, it's going to have great effects. Obviously, I think in terms of income tax, that's not going to change. But corporation tax is going to be quite a big deal with so many companies here on the island that benefit from that.
Interesting point of view. Anybody else want to talk about global tax? Everyone's looking at me. Ben, you've got the floor to yourself regarding that. But I want to come back to South Africa to you as well.
Sure.
And outside of South Africa, lots of people have no idea the nuances of opinion and politics in South Africa.
Yes,
So
yes.
in 30 seconds, can you tell us where South Africa's future lies?
Sorry, could you repeat that last bit?
Where does South Africa's future lie?
Where does its future lie? I think in terms of economically, it's not doing very well. Every Christmas, the currency is classified as junk, which means that it's usually about 23 rand to the pound, which isn't very good. In terms of the country, it's difficult. Tensions are high. A lot of people of my skin color are moving, because it gets to a point where they're actually at a disadvantage, and there are some really hurt feelings there that are justified in the pain that has been felt over the past century. And I think for myself to give an opinion would be very difficult, because I would not want to cause any sort of controversy. And the fact that I'm here and privileged to be where I am is of great commendation to my parents on making that decision. And I think for my family that are there, I know a few of them are thinking of coming over, it is difficult, because jobs are reserved for others and not for themselves. And that's more or less the case in South Africa, really.
Okay, well, very well summed up as well. In the meantime, I'm going to come back to Elias, because we're fascinated by the future of Bayern Munich and also in Donald Trump. But also, in terms of politics, what do you think about the disappearance of Frau Merkel?
I think it's really, really sad. I think she's done an outstanding job over the last few years, many years. Indeed. In fact, I think I've never seen somebody else reigning over Germany.
That's interesting. You've grown up with Angela Merkel.
Somebody else, yeah.
So the fact that somebody else may be in there. Germany at a crossroads as well. Obviously, it's a very powerful economic unit. What do you think the future's like for Germany?
I think it's still bright. I think we're doing good. I think especially like our strongest markets are cars. I think with the electric models of our new main brands, Mercedes, BMW, and Audi, I think they really have done great success in creating new cars, as well as their development in green technology. So I think we're going to grow and keep getting better.
Would you drive an electric car?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm happy if I drive any car, but no. I think, I mean, I think it's critical, because like, even though electric cars, of course, the production for the energy is better than for fuel, but still the lithium batteries have to be considered. And if it's really better after all, I think there's maybe the water-powered cars could be the better future.
Okay. Alex, just one final word, yes or no. Do you think this big swimming pool is going to get built at just down the road here?
Ooh, probably not. I think there's too much political wrangling going on.
Would you like to see it though?
I'd love to. If someone could like really just dig their teeth in and get it done, I'd be over the moon.
Great. Thanks, Alex Turnbull, Elias as well, and Christina, and Ava, Rory, Lauren and Ben, and Awana as well. We've been live at King William's College today, thanks to all the staff and the students of King William's College. This time next week, live at Castle Rushen High School. In just a moment, the Keys candidate.